Okay, let's find the solutions to this quadratic equation. So when we find the solutions, we are looking for the values of x that would make this equation true. Because it's a quadratic, meaning there's a squared on the x, it's very likely going to have two solutions. And because a does not equal 1, it's very likely that at least one of our solutions will be a fraction. Before we can solve a quadratic, we must make the equation equal 0. We must make it be that ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 format. So to do that, in this case, I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. And I wonder if some of you got it wrong or got stuck if that's what you forgot to do. So then I have 2x squared plus 5x. Negative 3 and negative 9 is negative 12 equals 0. Right, and now I'll do my a equals b equals c equals based on this equation. So a equals 2, positive 2, b equals 5, and c equals negative 12. And I'll do my big X. I'm going to factor by grouping. Top of the big X, negative 24. Bottom, positive 5. So I'm looking for the two numbers that when multiplied equal negative 24 and when added equal positive 5. So since I have a negative product, I must have two different signs here. And you know how I always say to match the sign that goes with b? So that one's going to be positive, and it's going to have to be a positive times a negative to equal 24. Now we know 24 can be, let's see, 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, that's it right there, 4 times 6. So 3 and 8, if the signs are different, if you subtract them, you'll get 5. So we're going to use 3 and 8. We want the bigger number here. And 8 times negative 3 equals negative 24. 8 plus negative 3 equals positive 5. So now it's the factor by grouping step. I bring down my 2x squared. I bring down my 8x. Then this negative 3 with an x. Then negative 12. Then my equals 0. What's important to notice here is that this is an equivalent expression to what we started with here. If I combined my 8x and negative 3x, I'd be back to 5x. And this is an equivalent equation to what we started with here. All we've really done now is written our equation 3 different ways. And the reason we like this way is that it allows us to do factor by grouping. So when I look at these first two terms, the greatest common factor that I see is that they both are divisible by 2 and they both have an x. So I'm going to put 2x here. Hopefully you can still see that. And then 2x squared divided by 2x is x. 8x divided by 2x is 4. And remember, I have to bring down this negative sign. 3x and 12, the greatest common factor is 3. Remember, I always look first to see if the small number is a factor of the bigger number. And if it is, since 12 is divisible by 3, then I know that's already going to be a 3. Then this becomes an x. Negative 12 divided by negative 3, it changes the sign, makes it positive 4, equals 0. So what we have now is two binomials that are the same, and that's what we wanted. And let's see, what's the best way to make this show? I'm going to write the factors over here. So I know I have this 2x and this minus 3, and those are going to become one of the factors, 2x minus 3. And the other factor is x plus 4. And I'm going to write equals 0. Okay, so now I have factored this. And I'm going to actually keep going up here. I think that'll work best. So I'm going to go now, if I were working on my own, I would just keep going down the page, but obviously you can't see it on the camera. So by the way, this is also an equivalent expression to this. What we're really doing here is the x values that make this true, the solutions, are the same x values that make this true, are the same x values that make these true, And why we were trying to get to something like this is now we can use zero product property. So if these two things multiply together to equal 0, then one of these, either 2x minus 3 or x plus 4, has to equal 0. Or both of them, for that matter. So I'm going to try this one. If I want 2x minus 3 to equal 0, what would I need x to be? Well, to find that out, I just add 3 to both sides. Draw a little line here, make that easier. And I get 2x equals 3. Oh. And then I have to divide both sides by 2. X equals 3 over 2. That is one of my solutions. Also, this would work if this piece equaled 0. And can you see that if x were negative 4, that would make this be 0? Because negative 4 plus 4 would be 0. And then when you multiplied these, they would disappear, right? So I'm going to do x plus 4, but I'm going to do the math on it. And then I subtract 4. X equals negative 4. So you should mark these clearly as your solutions. And what I mean when I say these are solutions are these are the two values that when plugged into the original equation, substituted into the original equation, will make this equation true. Okay, on the next video I'll show you how to check your work.